Hi, I'd like to talk to you today about some crossover literature, which means literature which is just as good for adults as it is for kids. Now, many of you might have read Frances Hodgson Burnett's The Little Princess a long time ago. This book is a little bit more for boys and girls, The Secret Garden, and in my opinion it's even better than The Little Princess. So what is the story about? It's set in India in the beginning, and we have Mary Lennox. She's a little young kid, about 9 or 10 years old, very disagreeable, very impatient, bad-tempered, but that's because her parents have absolutely no interest in her. Parents are working in India, she's just taken care of by an au pair, and they don't really even speak the same language. And then something terrible happens. The yellow fever breaks out and her parents both die, so she is orphaned and sent to live with her uncle Craven, who is a hunchback in England in a huge manor. So she's again a very rich little girl, but very, very unhappy. And when she meets Mr. Craven, the landlady of the house, the caretaker, au pair, cook, etc., it's a very nice lady, and she has a son called Dickon. And Dickon is a really down-to-earth little fellow. He has special gifts with animals. Think of the horse whisperer, but particularly with birds, and animals really respond to him. One day while Annie Lennox is walking the passages of this huge manor, she hears cries, and eventually, after a couple of discovery routes, she finds a hidden room, and there is Mr. Craven's son, Colin, whom he has kept hidden from society because he's very, very sick and he can't walk properly. So they slowly become friends, and she starts to take him on little outings, and the three of them, Dickon, Colin, the sick little, her cousin, and himself, start to wander around the garden, and that's when they come across this overgrown archway. They try to find out how to get in from the gardener, but it eventually is little Robin, who is very symbolic in the story, who sits on the wall and leads them to the key. When they go into this garden, it was actually the wife's garden, Mr. Craven's wife, who had died, and he doesn't want to go there anymore, so he just totally locked it up and hasn't been in there for 10 years. So it's very descriptive and symbolic of the whole Craven family. Nobody's really loving, he's always away on business, and also a little bit of the main character, the protagonist, Mary Lennox's life as well. Together the three kids start to clean up the garden, and they plant things, they learn things, and eventually it turns into a little Garden of Eden. And that is actually the process in the whole book of how they make this garden beautiful. And when Craven, the uncle, suddenly discovers that his son has been going outside in a wheelchair but can suddenly walk, and the kids are so happy, love all of a sudden returns to everyone. So it's a real feel-good book, an easy read, but it's also really, really a story of how you can change things around in life. So life is always what you make it, and The Secret Garden is a book that really shows you that as well. So please definitely read it. I'll show you up close. You can have a look at the picture of the garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett.